Awesome. Oh, perfect.
Excellent.
Very good.
We ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. And if you need me to speak louder, let me know. Um, I'm in a loud house with my parents and my baby now, so I don't know how loud I need to speak. Okay. We will get started with Sahana Bhavatu. I'm just trying to get the verse up next to me. Okay. We'll get started with 3 ohms and Sahana Bhavatu. So if you want to sit up straight, take a deep breath in. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryankaravavai Tejasvinavadidamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, welcome to class, everyone. I promise I'll be back in person next weekend. This is my last week remote from Austin. I'm in Austin. I realized I didn't tell you guys where I was last time. I'm visiting my parents who live here, and I'm getting a well-needed break from the baby. So, okay. We will continue with verse 5 and verse 5 of Sadhana Panchakam. And it is a verse meant for the sannyasi level. So we talked about how Sadhana Panchakam are like steps, and this is the final step. This is the final ashrama. And so the teachings will also be very rich and dense. We will figure out how to make it applicable to us. So we will do lead and repeat. I know there is a lag, so excuse the lag if I end up speaking over you or if there is a lag. Okay, we will get started. Ekante sukhamasyatam paratare Chetas samadhiyatam Purnatma susamikshyatam jagadidam Tadbadhitam drashyatam Prakarma pravilapyatam chitibalat Napyuttaraishlishyataam Prarabdham tviha bhujyatam matapara Brahmatmana sthiyataam All right, thank you. So I didn't like how I split the sandhi in the last line because Parabrahma goes together. But to keep the rhythm, I split it that way. But know that Parabrahma, that is its own word. It doesn't go with Atapara. So just to clarify. Okay. Now, the first line. Ekante, eka one, ante, secluded, right? Find joy, sukham, sukha, dukkha. We know that. That's in many languages. Sukham. Live joyously in that solitude. We talked about how to be careful when we seek that solitude. Gurudev says, don't seek the peaks for meditation. Meditation will take you to the peaks, right? You don't have to force solitude onto yourself. It is something that happens to us when we are ready for it. And if we're not ready for it, it can be quite dangerous. So that's the outside physical world. Then what do we do on the inside when we're at the highest time of our knowledge and studies? Paratare cheta samadhiyatam. Paratare. That which is beyond the beyond. You take the cheta, the intellect, the mind, and you put that samadhiyatam in that samadhi with that paratare. So fix your mind on that beyond. And last week, we talked about how our shastras are beautiful and that they recognize that we are all in different stages of meditation. We spoke in detail about puja and how it involves all five of our senses. And eventually, the ritual and the physical involvement in puja can reduce as we get more and more absorbed in paratare, in that beyond. Now, it is said that puja is done by seekers who are on that ladder, who are still trying to find that focus, but it's also done by those who are realized simply because they find joy in it. So if you look at many Madhadipatis who are realized or considered realized by their followers, they still sit and do puja every day. It's a part of their discipline, but also there's so much joy they get from doing puja. So don't think that puja is less than. That's my purpose in saying that. Puja, yes, it's a means, but it's also a place of enjoyment, including when people talk about gurus, right? And they say when you're at the highest, there's no guru, there's no shishya, right? There's no mother, no father, no nothing, no up, no down, no right, no left, no guru, no shishya, right? Now, before we gain knowledge, the guru is needed as a teacher, right? It's a part of the path. After you gain knowledge, you show gratitude to your guru for giving you that knowledge. It doesn't mean you disregard the guru. Of course, they won't care, but it is up to us to remain grateful to them. So, in the same way, we respect the steps that it takes for us to get to this samadhi or this highest meditation. Okay, now we'll look at the next line. Well, yeah. Purnatma susamikshatam jagadidam tat badhitam drashyatam. This is a highlight of Advaita Vedanta, and it's also one of the toughest concepts to comprehend. So let go of Purnatma for now. Purnatma Susamikshatam we'll look at later. We're just going to look at Jagatidam Tad Badhitam Drashyatam. Jagat, this world, right? Idam, this world, not your world or some world 10 years ago or some world to come in the future or something that we're discovering on Mars. Jagat is what we believe to be our world. So make it very personal, That's the point I'm trying to make. Make it very personal. My family, my mind, my intellect, that's my world. Now, Jagadidam, tad badhitam drishyata. See it as negated, not really existing. So for this, I'll tell a story, a small story, and hopefully we can connect to this concept better. All of us in this room have children. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You're here because of Balavihar. Our children go to school and there will be certain subjects or topics or instruments or, dances or whatever it is that they'll be involved in. And we believe as parents, we need to encourage them, right? So they say, oh, Amma, this is hard. I can't do it. No, you can do it. I believe in you. I know you can. Just try a little harder. No, Amma, it's actually really hard. I can't get this one piece. I can't get to play it or dance. It's the choreography is difficult. I believe in you, Beta. I believe in you, Ma. You can do it. Just try a little bit harder, right? So we believe that that is supporting them. We are encouraging them. We are pushing them to succeed. And our expectations are for their potential, for them to reach their potential, even if they may not see it. Correct? That's what we believe it is. Now, if that child is repeatedly saying, this is hard, I'm trying my best, it's not working, and all they are met with is, you can do it. Just keep trying harder, keep trying harder. For some children, at some point, it could become a pressure. I'm telling my mom and dad that I can't. I'm telling them it's difficult, but they still want me to take calculus BC in 10th grade. I was just talking to somebody, junior year, they're jumping to calculus BC and they're trying to skip AB. And she's not happy about it, but everybody's doing it, so she thinks she has to. At that point, what we think is encouragement ends up being a pressure. Now, what's the alternative? When they say, this is hard, I can't do it, it's not saying, okay, I agree, you can't do it. Let's just give up. Let's give up together. No, we sit, we have a conversation. What part of this is difficult? Is there any tutoring that we can go to? Do practice problems help, or is the exam significantly different from what you learn in class? Because that happens too. You can get 100 on your homework, 100 in classwork, take the best notes. But when it comes to the exam, you've never seen anything like those problems and you're lost. So it's the application, right? And you need a different approach for that. And sometimes the pace of how is simply too much. And the teacher or the rest of the class is not willing to slow down, at which point it's okay to bow out and say, I need more time. And if I spend my extra time taking, tutorials on just this one subject, then it's going to put me back in my other world history AP class, in my, AP chemistry class. Like, I don't have the ability to focus on just this class. It's okay. Step back, support them. And they may feel the pressure from their classmates because everybody's in that class. But at least they'll know the parents aren't a part of the pressure. Right? The worst thing is that student is doing it, your neighbor is doing it. Why can't you? And I hear that a lot. I'm not talking about my personal experience. I'm talking about more than that. The kids who I talk about mission, and I used to be a school teacher. I used to teach public school. So I'm talking about the entire thing. We have to change our approach and our perspective. Again, remember, we think we're being supportive when we say, you can do it. I believe in you. But what does that translate into? That's the other part that we rarely consider. I'm doing my best, Swati. I'm saying what I need to say. ChatGPT told me this is how I encourage my children. But how is a child understanding what comes from your mouth? That's a whole new jagat world. You saying, I believe in you, you can do it, could potentially translate into, if I don't do it, I may be seen as a failure. I may be letting my parents down. Whatever it is. And that's, I think, the toughest part of parenting. Understanding that it's a completely different receptive device than our outgoing device. Our output is different from what is input over there. It's not simply like you stick a jack into the computer and you listen on audio. No, there's so many emotions, there's so many things that can change the message. I don't know how many of you have played telephone as kids. There's one message, three little pigs. That's the first message. By the time it gets to the 20th person, it becomes lions in a den. Like, how? How does the message change so much? Right? That's the reality. Our filters change the message, and everyone has a unique filter. Okay. This example is pretty relatable. I hope. Now, what does this have to do with jagadidam tat badhitam drishyatam? For someone who has just lost a loved one or who is, struggling with a reality of suffering or pain, telling them this world isn't real, this pain isn't real, relationships aren't real, your mother's existence was temporary, your father's existence was temporary anyway, is not the right approach. And it could cause more pain and damage. Same way, we need to recognize personally, subjectively, where am I in my understanding of this world and my relationships? Do I want the encouragement or do I want the understanding? Do I want fully pure rationality or emotional support? Where am I in my understanding of this world, of me, my identity? That's where we begin. Another precaution is seeing the world as a dream or illusory should not be an escape from this world. Many of us think we are intellectuals when everything is going well. Right? Let's say you have a fear of snakes, right? You're sitting at home in your comfortable house, no snakes nearby, although we are in Florida, but when you're feeling safe, right? I'm not scared of snakes. It's fine. I can survive. They're just animals like anybody else. What? They're a little slippery, but as long as they're not venomous, I'm okay. And then you go to a petting zoo or something and there's a snake there. Why don't you pet the snake? Oh, no, thank you. Then the visceral reaction comes. No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll just stand here. You do it. So in good times, we can be armchair philosophers and say Advaita Vedanta says that this world can be negated and it's illusory. Therefore, I have nothing to worry about, and you shouldn't worry either. And then you stub your toe. You lose somebody. You get into a fight. You have expectations that were not met. And suddenly, that becomes real. That toe becomes real. That bruise becomes real. That conflict and the emotions that come with conflict become real. So we have to be honest with ourselves on where we are in this process. Okay. So that's all the precautionary and examples given to prepare us. Now, what is the rationale? Right? Because it's all about logic. Advaita Vedanta is so pure, faultless. Why, with proof, can we say that this world is not real? The definition of reality, according to our Shastras, Sat Chit Ananda. We've talked about this before, and we've talked mostly in the concept of joy. I want joy. Now, Sat, existence. For something to be existing truly, Sat, Trikale api tishtati iti Sat. Trikale, past, the three times, past, present, and future. That which is true, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, only that can be perceived as real. So that's our, I don't know if y'all remember geometry, but you have to come up with, you have that rule, right? And everything else has to, match that rule, theory and practice. So the rule is it has to exist in the past, present, and future for it to exist. Now, let's break this down. First, we'll start with us. Right? Tomorrow. Yes? No? Is this body the same? So if I show you a picture of you when you were a baby, picture of you today, and an AI picture of you 30 years from now, will it look the same? Two weeks ago, let's say you had a cold, suffering, the body is suffering. Today you came to class, I'm hoping you're not spreading germs, right? And then 2 weeks later, maybe you're skydiving, you're feeling the tippity top of your health. So is illness permanent? No. So anything that happens to the body and the physical state of the body, both are constantly changing. Therefore, you have to negate the body. The body doesn't exist. Next, the mind, right? Do you feel the same way that you felt last week in class, that you feel today in class? And you can guarantee, with a guarantee, say you'll feel the same way next Sunday. I barely feel the same way the morning that I do at night, right? In the morning, I'm a lot more hopeful than at night, where I'm defeated. Survival mode. If our thoughts are not permanent, they're constantly changing, then we cannot be the mind. The mind cannot be real. Okay, logically speaking, there's no mind then. Then intellect. Think about before you learn a language. The process of learning a language, and later on, you're proficient at that language. So, even education. Before your studies, during your studies, after your studies, everything that you use this intellect for even the existence of this intellect in difficult times, That's always changing. It's unpredictable. Therefore, it can't be this intellect. I can't even trust this intellect. What's the point of breaking all of this down? This is a famous example of our Shastras. It's called snake and rope. I'm sure you've heard about it before. Let's say there's it's not dark, but it's not bright, right? It's kind of like that in between time of the day. You're going for a walk and you see something in the corner, it looks curled up, you know? And you think you hear a sound. You think you see it move. You start to sweat. Your blood pressure goes up. You get closer. It's just a rope. It's not a snake. It loses its power over you, correct? Because it's just a rope. If it's a snake, oh, everybody run. Or you take a picture for Instagram, whatever mentality you have. In the same way, it's important for us to investigate the reality of that which controls our lives currently, which is this body, mind, and intellect. If this body, mind, and intellect is really just rope and not snake, why am I feeling so threatened and beaten up by it? Why does my body take me for a ride mentally? My mind take me for a ride. And my intellect constantly trying to sabotage my life. I'm sure self-sabotaging is a concept you've heard of. Every time we have expectations from this world, we create strong attachments. We are self-sabotaging our path to realization. This may make us uncomfortable. Well, this is nonsense. You're wasting my time. My problems are real to me. My arguments are real to me. My children's future matter to me. And I'll do whatever it takes for them to be successful, for me to be successful. Then we have to come back to perspective. If the world is real to me, my body, mind, intellect is going to be and must be real. Our Acharya used to say, for a mithya or delusional fever of this body, you can take mithya medication. Because some people say, oh, I have a physical problem, but it's all fake. I don't need to take medication. Now, if we're at a stage of like Ramana Maharishis, that's different. But the students of Vedanta, as we were, there were definitely some clever ones that said, Swamiji, I will not take any kind of medication for this 103, 4, 5 fever. Because you just taught us that we are Brahman. And body is not real. And Swamiji would be like, okay, for this mithya body, you take mithya medication so you can sit in my mithya class. We have to be clear which realm that we're thinking in, and it can get very confusing, dangerous if we mix it up. It can cause mental health issues. It really can. That's why it's important to be honest with ourselves. And that's why this is verse 5 of Sadhana Panchakam. The world we live in today The mentality with which we perceive this world dictates whether we're ready for the highest knowledge or not. And this is it. This is the highest knowledge. Oh, but then you were taught it and you can't live it? How many things do we know are good for us that we don't do? Don't have screen time. And I'm sitting there scrolling at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Don't eat, too much sugar, too much this, too much that. Yet I'm going to scarf down another oily fried samosa. Just one more jalebi. So, just because we're taught something doesn't mean we follow it. And if we are truly of an investigative mind, which is a requirement for Vedanta, right? If we are truly of an investigative mind, instead of letting it be, we will double down. Swati, why are you still scrolling at 11 or 12? Why are you eating that second jalebi, the fourth jalebi? What in your intellect is not clear enough? And this can sound tough, but that's what it is. It's rational, it's logic. What doesn't get through to you in your head that you're still doing these bad habits? What emotional attachment or addiction do you have to these bad behaviors? And how can we help you get out of those? For some people, it's locking the phone up, right? They say you shouldn't sleep in the same room as your phone. Your phone should be in a separate room because the temptation is so hard. I had friends who had in college who had such a tough time waking up for classes. And yeah, you can pick your classes in college, but if the chemistry lab you need is 8 a.m. on a Wednesday, you have to take a chemistry lab at 8 a.m. on a Wednesday, right? So they would have alarm clocks across the room. And unfortunately, they had roommates like me who got irritated by that. They would have to get out of bed just to turn the alarm off. So these are small tweaks to change our habits. And these are small habits to change in reality. What to talk about the idea of reality itself? Fundamentally questioning the nature of space and time, of our experiences. This isn't something that happens overnight unless we're Mahatmas. For some, we talked about Mona Vyakhyana, right? Dakshinamurti, Swami, he doesn't even need to say a word. He sits there with this chin mudra and the student understands. Oh, Advaita, of course. For us, even if we get hit with that Advaita Vedanta every day on our head, I remember in high school, we were doing in our English class, and some of your student or kids might be doing this. We did a segment on magic realism, and I loved it. My brother, he's a very rational mindset. He was like, "This is dumb. I don't know why we have to study it." But there was one story in magic realism, and it was about a man who was hit on the head with an umbrella every day. That was his life. He would walk to work, he would come home, he would be sleeping, and constantly somebody would be hitting on his head with an umbrella. And it sounds so ridiculous, right? But you think about the philosophy behind it, right? What kind of ideas, pressures, thoughts, burdens are constantly hitting us on the head all day and night to the point that it's no longer bizarre. I saw some faces go, that's a dumb story. But the guy who kept getting hit on the head with the umbrella, for him, it's regular life. He got used to it. How many things have we gotten used to? Whether it's a victim mindset, apathy, or comfort. Sometimes we're just so comfortable in our misery. That's the toughest thing to kind of counsel through. When you see people causing their own suffering, they know they're doing it, but the change is just not happening. I'm sure with children we see that too. Don't do it. Don't jump off the bed. You're going to bump your knee. You're going to bump your head. Don't do it. And it happens. I've been telling you not to do it. That's exactly what you do. And now you've messed up your knee again. How many things are we doing to ourselves every day? And that too in the context of reality. I wake up, Swati, that's my name. Female, that's my gender. Mother, that's my role. Wife, that's my role. Daughter, that's my role. Friend, that's my role. Student, that's my role. Teacher, that's my role. Okay, get up, let's go, let's do this. I don't even question the reality, and it may be considered crazy if I do, but what if I wake up, at least when I wake up, Om, I am that eternal Dharma. I am a devotee of Bhagavan Krishna. He is holding me through today. And then I am Swati, I am a mother, I am a female, I am a wife, and all these other layers, right? But when we don't start with acknowledging our true identity, we get caught up in all the others. When we wake up, we're supposed to do a prayer. Karagre vasate Lakshmi, Karamadye Saraswati, Karamule tu Govinda, Prabhate Karadarshini. Meaning, as it's morning, whether we wake up at 10 or 6, this morning of sunrise, in our hands are all of these Devis. May these Devis, first may I have darshanam of Saraswati Mata, Lakshmi Mata. Some people say Gauri, some people say Govinda. Either way, may they help these hands today only do auspicious things. They live in my hands. Karagre vasate. They live here. And we say, Samudravasane Devi Parvatastana Mandale Vishnu Patni Namastabhyam Padasparsham Kshamasvame. Meaning, this Devi who lives in the ocean, Samudrasane Devi, Parvatastana Mandale, and on mountains. Vishnu Patni, the wife of Vishnu, Namastubhyam, Padasparsham Kshamasvame. Please forgive me for touching you with my feet. Right? You're basically recognizing Mother Earth. It's not just one day of Earth Day and recycling. Every day. Now, we go back to Badita. Well, aren't Devis then should be negated? How come Devis can be real but not me? I'm also Devi. It's perspective. If I wake up thinking I am Swati, I am a female, I am a mother, you might as well start the day with praying to Bhagwan, and Bhagwan is real. Because Swati is nothing without Bhagwan's assistance, without Bhagwan's blessings. If these feet are real, then Mother Earth is real. Therefore, ask forgiveness for stomping all over. It's a clarity we need to have. Otherwise, it can get very jumbled up. Where are we in this understanding? And if you see realized people also, the stories at least, I don't know if we're blessed enough to meet realized people in our lifetime, but even in the stories, they don't become disrespectful as soon as they're realized. If they were disrespectful, they always were. It's not because of realization. They are still grateful because this body, living its prarabdha, is still living on this earth. We try to have a checklist of, okay, what does realization mean? Right? There's a few indicators of realized people given in Bhagavad Gita, but more than the external display, it's about the internal mindset. That's why I can never tell you you're realized. You can never tell me I'm realized. It's an individual journey always. So when Sadhana Panchakam is saying, Jagadidam tad badhitam drishyatam, it's asking us to think with pure logic. And if we have questions, it's because we are not able to digest the pure logic of what the definition of existence means. I cannot digest that this child that I'm turning my life upside down for can be negated, is not real. It's more common in difficult times, at least in my experience. It's very difficult to say that these emotions are not real. But I have seen people, and it's not just, escapism. They lost one parent, people very close to me, and they were wailing. I've never heard them wail that much, just crying so deeply, so much pain in their cries. And maybe a decade later, they lose the next parent, right? So now they have. And their reaction, you will not even guess that it's the same person. It was of pure understanding and gratitude. This is what happened. They knew she was getting sick. They said she may not survive the night. I'm going for the funeral tomorrow. And I ask them, right? Like, I want to learn. I've always been very curious how transformation happens. And a couple weeks later, not immediately, of course, I said, I saw you when your father died and when your mother died. Is it because you had a different relationship with them? Were you closer to one or the other? I mean, how? How did your mind and your reaction change? And they said, once my father died, I went very deep into the scriptures, into understanding reality and the nature of this world. I studied the Bhagavatam, I studied Puranas, I studied, so many things, listened to many upanyasas, meaning lectures on Vedanta. And when my mother passed, I was still sad, right? I shed my tears. But for me, it was reality. Like it's the nature of the world. And I'm grateful that she was able to pass quickly without pain. That's all for me, it was. It was more gratitude than anything. But that person had to get there on their own. I know that when that person's father died, if I told them, you're Brahman, don't worry, I would have been an idiot. Right? And I still didn't say anything when their mother passed. They told me their understanding of themselves, of this world, and what happens. Most of the time, when people are grieving, you just listen. You don't need to say, oh, karma this, karma that. Nobody's asking for any lessons in any religion. For human beings, grief is a time for them to cope. And all we need to do is listen, even if they lost their parent 5 years ago or 5 days ago. It's a grief. And their understanding is what matters. Same way for us, our understanding of who we are, where we are, what's real, dictates our acceptance or our ability to absorb these teachings. Then why are we even talking about this? Why don't we just wait till we're ready? When will we be ready? We don't know. I mean, the first time I heard Aham Brahmasmi, I was probably in high school or something. And it's been decades later. I'm still not ready to live a life of Aham Brahmasmi. I just keep trying. And next Janma, if there is one, and I am trying my best not to have one. But if there is one, these teachings will follow me. And instead of high school, I'll be exposed to this in middle school or elementary school. And slowly it will be exposed. I will be exposed to it enough to finally understand it and accept it. Because our class, this is Advaita Vedanta class. This is not a university class where the purpose in university classes is to be open-minded and be curious and learn from other religions. The purpose of Advaita Vedanta class is to state the truth and figure out how to get there. It's a very clear, narrow approach, right? And if we are not at that point, what kind of tools do our scriptures give us to get there? No matter what Gurudev says, Advaita Vedanta makes a Christian a better Christian, a Muslim a better Muslim. Any religion that you choose, Advaita Vedanta gives you that. It's like you're playing a darts, right? You hold the dart, but that bullseye is right there, whether you aim at the ceiling or the floor. You find the practices that help you get there, but that's the truth. So we'll stop here. I think there's 5 minutes left. And luckily, Archanaji is there today. So if there's any questions or clarifications, please ask her. I'll stay here, but it's harder to communicate, I think. So we'll finish with Purnamadaha. And hopefully you all can discuss this further and we can continue next week. If there are no questions, then I'll continue. I'll have no problem. But I understand that it is a dense concept. And I didn't give all the details because I don't know where we all are. Right? So we'll do Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Any questions or comments? Well, it's like the final words is tough. I'm sure Swati is going to help us walk through the final verse, and the next time when you come here, the class is quiet. Tough, tough subject to absorb.
Right.
Tough topic.
I agree. Okay. Hari Om, everyone.
Thank you.